So it's intimidating as a pastor to stand before you and proclaim the Easter message, because how can you top what God has done? So I have an idea that I want to share with you. Two ideas, actually. One of them comes from our Lenten season together. Many of you have participated in that. And I'll ask you about how you're coming along with your changes in your life. The theme of Lent was change. And then I'm going to tell you a story about Bob and Randy and how love changed Bob's life in a mighty powerful way. And I'm going to end this sermon by answering the question, who raises you up? And it's going to happen in song, and it's going to happen in a powerful way. I pray for you, and I pray that you understand that it is God who raises you up as God raised Christ from the dead. It is God who raises us up every single day when we're given a day of life. Isn't that why they call it the present? It's a present every single day. You get up, you have a brain, you have blood pumping in your veins, you have air going into your lungs. It is all gift. And it's God's, and it's for you. So in this life are many changes, right? You're given life through no doing of your own. It was your parents. It's God's miracle. There are changes from the second you're born until the second you die. And change is not something that at least I like very much on the whole, especially when new things come. Until usually a little later on, I look back and think, boy, air conditioning is a really nice change. And inside plumbing, right? and cars, they're amazing. Just in my lifetime, how they've changed and how they're a lot safer. How we can take out this phone that I have in my pocket, and I can show you pictures of my grandchild right here. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist, Lord. I probably shouldn't do that. I couldn't resist the miracle of life. And many of you know that miracle. Many of you have that in your families. There are changes all the time, changes in seasons. From Ecclesiastes we hear, there's a time for all things, right? A time to be born and a time to die. And we know that. But when those changes come in our lives, we don't like it. We don't want it to happen. But it comes. It's transformed. It comes in a little seed. All of these plants were little seeds. All around us, life is bursting forward from the longest winter in the history of humankind, right? That's what it felt like anyway. Sure it wasn't, but it sure seemed like it in March. Life comes from a little bit of yeast, which by itself is like yuck. When it goes into bread, it's like, wow, who raises up the bread? The bread of life for us physically, spiritually, emotionally as God. Oh, goodness. The change of seasons. And we remembered another week, change in circumstances, right? Each week we had one of these themes. Change of seasons, changes of circumstances. We go from that infant stage to toddler, to grade school, to junior high school, everybody's favorite time of life, to high school, to college, to married, to like our daughter now, who was just only yesterday a little teeny baby in our arms, and today is a mother, for goodness sakes. Lots of you more experienced people here have told me that. How quickly time goes in life. How circumstances change. And yet as we look back on each one of them, we learned from them, we grew from them. Many times there were blessings only visible after we'd lived through it. Trusting in God, we realize that we grow in our abilities, in our understanding. And we remember St. Paul's words, in all situations give thanks. That's been one of the hardest scripture verses for me. Give thanks when you are suffering. You got to be kidding me. I don't like to suffer any more than you do. St. Paul says, always give thanks. And when you're able, or I am able to do that, suddenly the world is altogether different, and God spins a whole new sense of experience of who God is. The next one was change of heart. Jesus said in his scripture, they honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Well, it's not about us getting a liturgy right this morning, or me having this certain sermon or a music, it's about what is in your heart and in mine. And God asks us, Jesus asks us in this Lenten season to cleanse our hearts, to come to Him in humility and wholeness, looking for life. And He wants to give it to us. How many times in your life when you have said, I will never forgive that person, I will never agree with them, I will never vote Democratic, or I will never vote Republican. Or later on with time, you might come to say, maybe maybe I should forgive that person. Maybe those Republicans, well, that's a really bad example, isn't it? I'll tell you why. Because of the gridlock in Washington, it's a really bad example. I'm asking you to consider something in your life that you thought could never change. And when your heart changed for its understanding, you grew from it. And you saw it differently. And you realized that where you were so staunchly set on this side, that when you came over to this side, God had something altogether different in mind. That's part of what it means to be a follower of Christ, to share His love. That God raises us up to do this in a new and in a different way. Perhaps you've had a change of plans in your life. A few times I have. I never planned to go to seminary. I never planned on certain things happening, but you know what? Sometimes they do. Pastor Hank shared with us that day. It's not the ways we would like it sometimes in life. Our plans are changed. And God asks us to trust God in the journey, on the path, because He has something in mind, that we might know Him in ever-growing ways. That God brings life from death even on this morning, so we do not despair. Another week we spent on the topic of habits. Anybody finish their new habit they were going to start during Lent here? You bold enough to raise your hand? I'm still working on mine. Eric, dude, all right, there's one. I'm hoping some of you others are being a little shy because we worked on it. How long did we say it would take to develop a new habit? 21 days. That's it. 21 days. And I admit, you get to day 7 and day 17, sometimes it seems like 21 years. But new habits are developable. Bad habits are hard to break. Now, if we're to be our best selves, we're to understand ourselves as God's gift, and we are stewards of life. And so habits are worth taking on, those habits that need to be pushed away and to be reformulated and redone. Stewardship means developing good habits with Christ for this reason, that we might grow in the fruits of the Spirit. The love we were talking about with our kids. Patience, kindness, generosity, hope. All of these fruits of the Spirit from the little seeds of God's love that's first put inside of us. Habits are worth taking on and changing. There is a story I want to tell you about from this book to illustrate what God's love is about. It's called Love Does. Bob Goff is the author of it. This is a story of Bob's life. He is now an attorney. A really crazy attorney, because as you read this book, it is a New York Times bestseller. Bob is talking about his life. Chapter 1, he's a junior in high school. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. He don't need no stinking high school, okay? He doesn't like school. He's not going to do it anymore. He has had it. He's going to quit. He heard that you could get a GED and do it fast track, but he couldn't figure out how to do the GED. Maybe it told him a little something about why he should stick with school. Bob had a friend enter this situation, Randy. Randy was 4 or 5 years older. He had 3 things that Bob didn't have. A beard, so he looked pretty cool. Bob was still waiting for his first whisker so he could knock it off. Randy had a beard, he had a motorcycle, and the most important thing he had, according to Bob, a girlfriend. He thought he ought to have one of those too. This Bob guy would hang out at the high school, and at first Randy's like, yeah, what's he doing here? What's he want? What's cool about his 20-something-year-old hanging out with high school kids? And Randy would just kind of approach Bob and try to talk to him about Jesus a little now and then. And Bob's like, yeah, right, get away from me. But he had this way, Randy had this way. He would approach Bob, tell me about your life. How are you doing? He cared about him. He showed in a very healthy, positive way. Bob was with Young Life. It's a Christian organization of people who want to just share the love of Christ. Randy would hang out with Bob week after week, month after month. Finally, there was a relationship there. So, like I said, he wanted out of school, right? Bob's going to leave school. He goes to Randy's house on a Sunday morning, just like today, pounds on the door. Randy walks to the door, groggy-eyed. Yeah, Bob, what's up? What's up? Hey, Randy, I just wanted to tell you something. I wanted to thank you for being in my life, but I'm heading out of here. I'm taking my $75, my Volkswagen car, and my backpack with a sleeping bag in it, and I'm going to head out of here up to Yosemite. I am going to be a mountain climber. I don't need no stinking school. I don't need any of these rules. I don't need this parent stuff. I am out of here. I am out of here. Thank you for being in my life. And Randy says, whoa, Bob, wait a second. Could you just wait a second? I'm with you, Bob. Bob's like, what? What do you mean you're with me? Wait a second, I'll be right back. Randy goes in the house, picks up a sleeping bag, a backpack, comes out the door. All right, I'm with you, and I will stay with you. Let's go. And then Bob's like, well, what do you mean you'll stay with me? Yeah, I'm going to go with you. I told you I would be standing by your side, and I will. I will be your friend, and we're going to go do this. I'll get you settled in, and then I'll come back. Well, whatever, come on, I'm out of here. So they tool up the 6 hours to Yosemite. They're $75. They sneak into the campground because they really don't have very much money. It isn't going to last very long. Bob goes, I'll just get a job up there and climb mountains, and life is going to be so good because I won't have to go to school, and I won't have to listen to my parents tell me about I have to come in at night and all that. It's going to be so cool. Pounds on the door. Job? No. I'm cutting to the short here. Job? No. Job? No. Job? No. All day long. Can't find a job washing dishes, sweeping floors, nothing available in the whole valley. They sneak back in, they camped out a second night. Got up in the morning, it's the most glorious thing you could ever see, Yosemite. El Capitan with the sun shining on it. Man, this is a cathedral, Bob says. I gotta live here. I wanna go get a job. He tries to get a job. No. Everybody tells him, it's really hard to get jobs up here. Everybody wants to live here. And, that's just how it is. So they climbed one mountain, jostling each other, who's going to get up there first, jive talking, these guys climbing the mountain. This is great. Tried it another time. Job, no job. Guess what happened? $75 doesn't go too far. Luckily, Randy bought him supper. And Bob slowly came to the realization that maybe this isn't going to work. Randy says, Bob, I trust you. Whatever your decision, you'll make the right one. If you decide to stay, I'm with you for a bit. And if you decide to go, that's okay too. Whatever you think. No condemnation, no judgment. No, you should have listened to your teachers. No, you got to get your education. I'm with you. I am with you, is what he said. That's it. Bob said, all right. Another day passed. Uncle, no money, no job, not going to get a job. I guess it's time to go home. So they got back in the Volkswagen, drove the 6 hours home, pulled up to Randy's apartment. And out came Randy's girlfriend that I talked about a little earlier. A little time had passed, She swung her arms around him and said, honey, it's so good to see you. Big smacker right there. And Bob's, oh man, this is just great. Bob's welcome into the house, and he looked around the house, and he could see these things unwrapped, wrapping paper. I mean, like nice wrapping paper, not like a guy would do, but with ribbons and pretty stuff all over it. And a microwave halfway out of the box, new dishes, silverware, Tupperware, all kinds of things. And Bob suddenly realized. He just realized what happened the night before Randy went with him to the mountains. Bob had gotten married on the Saturday night before they got married, before they left. Sunday morning, I couldn't have done it. I'm not sure I could face my wife if I did that to her. Well, leave for 3 days? The morning after you got married? Who would do that? Randy did it for Bob. Randy said to Bob, I'll be with you. I'll be with you. I mean, she's quite a lady, right? Who would understand that? That's the kind of guy Randy was for Bob. And Bob said it changed his life forever. He does that kind of stuff now as a lawyer, believe it or not, as an adult man. That's what the book is about. It's an incredible message of commitment and love. And that's what God is saying to you and to me this morning. It is God who says, I got your back. I'm with you. Wherever you go and whatever you do, however fast you may want to run from me, you know I'm with you. I got your back. And I want to have you sing, Connor's going to sing a song right now with Eric. It's a song that answers this question, who raises you up? And Connor's singing about the one who raises you and me up. It's the same one who raises up Jesus from the cross. You raise me up.
soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burn and be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. On mountains, you raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Didn't God do a good job of raising up a young man who can sing and share his gift for us today? And so in all the changes and chances of your life, I ask you to remember from this very morning, it is God who raises you up. You have a place and a reason for being here, even here this morning, that we would be connected as His people, as community, that we would go out to share the love of Christ with all whom we meet. Might that be so in your life this day and all the days that you have to come. We share in the hymn now, Thine is the Glory, which we also sing about today. It's 376. It'll also be on the screen.